Silent sound spread spectrum, a mind-influencing technique that was used in the Gulf War. Ansh Srivastava reports, "It's our belief that we have free will and that our decisions and thoughts are our very own. Our sense of identity, freedom of choice, our personality are essential components of our uniqueness and the human condition. Yet are we truly as independent and endowed with free will as we like to believe? The terrifying possibility that we could be under the influence of external forces and subject to mind control against our will has been extensively explored in science fiction, but what if it's not merely fiction? What if we are being immediately molded and programmed by malicious parties via the television and music we listen to? According to some, this is precisely the case and has been for decades. One such bizarre case came from the Gulf War. The silent sound spread spectrum, SSSS, also known as S-Quad or Squad, was allegedly developed by and patented by Dr. Oliver Lowry of Norcross, Georgia, who refers to it as the silent subliminal presentation system, often referred to as the sound of silence. It was developed in the 1950s and perfected over the following decades. It allegedly works by analyzing human brain patterns and storing this data as emotional signature clusters, which can then be synthesized, duplicated, and beamed out via various means to subliminally influence the emotional states and thought processes of humans, thereby disrupting our consciousness. The following is stated in the system's patent abstract. Quote, "A silent communication system in which non-oral carriers in the very low or very high audio frequency range or in the adjacent ultrasonic frequency spectrum or amplitude or frequency modulated with the desired intelligence and propagated acoustically or vibrationally for inducement into the brain, typically through the use of loudspeakers, earphones, or piezoelectric transducers. The modulated carriers may be transmitted directly in real time or may be conveniently recorded and stored on mechanical, magnetic, or optical media for delayed or repeated transmission to the listener," end quote. Basically, it means covert mind control, using either short-range direct microwave induction or piggybacking on signals transmitted over TV or radio waves and other carrier frequencies. The technology is allegedly completely undetectable, and it's utilized in two primary ways. According to Edward Tilton, president of Silent Sounds, Inc., governments have utilized his company's technology in a variety of top-secret capacities. He expressed ominous words. He said, "All schematics, however, have been classified by the U.S. government, and we are not allowed to reveal the exact details. We make tapes and CDs for the German government, even the former Soviet Union countries, all with the permission of the United States Department, of course. The system was used throughout Operation Desert Storm in Iraq quite successfully," he said. This mind control technology may have been utilized during the Gulf War. Conspiracy theorists assert that it was used to great effect during the war when waves were emitted into the enemy via standard radio frequency broadcasts in order to subliminally influence them into panicking and surrendering. One piece of evidence used for this were some news reports from wire service bulletins from London's ITV News Bureau Limited, London, in March of 1991. On March 23, 1991, news brief called "High-Tech Psychological Warfare Arrives in the Middle East" apparently stated that during Operation Desert Storm, the U.S. military deployed, quote, "an unbelievable and highly classified PSYOPs program utilizing silent sound techniques," end quote. Reportedly, these signals were transmitted via 100 MHZ FM radio stations and had the effect of compelling Iraqi forces to surrender by implanting negative emotional states, feelings of fear, anxiety, despair, and hopelessness. The use of sophisticated mind-influencing technology during the Gulf War is said to be the reason why so many Iraqi forces were persuaded to surrender so quickly, even in situations where they had held the military advantage. In some instances, entire brigades surrendered without resistance, as described by one soldier, quote, "They were surrendering in droves almost too quickly for us to keep up," end quote. These were seasoned troops who had endured a perilous war with Iran from 1980 to 1988, promising the United States the mother of all battles, yet they surrendered by the tens of thousands, frequently without firing a shot. Some surrenders were bizarre, such as 450 Iraqi soldiers who were persuaded to surrender by 100 US soldiers, and an Iraqi soldier who surrendered to an unarmed remote-controlled drone, prompting a witness to remark, "One of them gave up to an RPV, remotely piloted vehicle. Here's the guy with his hands up, turning in a circle to give himself up to a model airplane with a camera on it." Now, according to the conspiracies, there is conclusive evidence that the U.S. military used sound technology to transform these combat veterans into compliant, submissive prisoners. While the British press mentioned subliminal PSYOP operations, this information was censored and suppressed in U.S. media reports, making the entire situation appear more suspicious and sinister. Of course, government officials categorically deny that any of this ever occurred and are adamant that such a system does not exist. Former Navy Weapons Research Director Charles Barnard has stated, "I have yet to see one of these ray gun things that actually works, and DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, has come to us every few years to see if there are ways to incapacitate the central nervous system remotely, but nothing has ever come of it. That is too science fiction and far-fetched." But they would want us to believe this, wouldn't they? Is silent sound spread spectrum true, or is it all just conspiracy theories? Is it merely a bunch of science fiction nonsense? Whether it is actually occurring in any capacity or not, the concept is at least considered plausible by some, and perhaps there is something to it. The government has pursued such endeavors for quite some time, regardless of how absurd they may appear. Have they gotten this far, or is this just strange conspiracy theory? Maybe time will tell. And this is on Infinity Explorers by Ansh Srivastava. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box